Good morning, everyone. Oh, yeah, very good morning for most of you. But it's 11:30 in the AM here in the UK. So what's that going to be, like 6:30 AM on the East Coast of America? Well, hopefully catch you some early birds. But if you didn't catch this live and you're on the replay crew, you're all very much appreciated, because the replay crew, well, that's me. I'm always replay crew on the majority of live streams that I watch. The benefit of being on the replay crew is that you can skip around and find the bits that are most interesting, or you can speed it up, whereas you just can't when it's live. But we've got some donations already before the live stream started. So Hey Gigi, aka Bug Love, who's one of my mods, has gifted one membership, and it's I Want Heart to Touch who has got that. So welcome. I think you've been a member before, if I remember rightly. But welcome. You get a month's free membership courtesy of Hey Gigi, aka Bug Love. So thank you so much for that. And Krista has hopped in with a 19.99. Thanks for being you, says the avocado. So thank you so much for that. You're very, very kind. It's 5:30 Central. That's very early. Good morning from sunny Yorkshire. Let's have a look. Good morning from, who else have we got? South Carolina. Big hugs to Tilly, Cassie and Noodle the Doodle. That's exactly what I call him. I've shortened it to Noodoo. He actually answers to that now. Dear me. All right. It would be nice to hit the 1K thumbs ups. It absolutely would. I don't think we'll make that because of the timing. It's a great time for those down under. I did see a comment. There we go. Good evening, Michelle and everyone. It's 8:18 PM here in Australia, says Teresa. So it's a great time, this, for those down under. So there is a benefit to these early live streams for some people. 3:30 AM in the Pacific Northwest. Wow. Now you're either very early up or you haven't gone to bed yet. Whichever it is, welcome everybody. Thank you, Elizabeth, for the £5. Just to say thanks. And thank you. Thank you. Oh, Purple AJ hopping in with more gifted memberships. Purple AJ, you are too kind. So Farm Girl, Lizzie, Robin, Flicking Bollocks, which is the funniest name to say ever. Carrie, Dark Times, Positive Vibes, Charlie Be Good, Gitty Ramonson, Kiki's Eyes, Fruit Fly. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much once again, Purple AJ, who has been a member for 30 months. Definitely one of the OGs. May I fall back asleep being up all night with Mom. Oh, well, if you fall asleep, you can always catch what you missed on the replay. Again, that's often me. If I start watching a live stream at, say, like midnight my time, I catch the rest in the morning. All right, so without further ado, let's get into this live stream. I wanted to do this live for a reason, because one of my videos inadvertently seems to have caused some of the criticism and some of the threats that have been made to some of the searchers. So I want to correct that, and I want to do it live so that I can be sure that everybody understands, everyone's on the same page, and hopefully whoever has been using one of my videos to give threats to people, well, hopefully this live stream will put a stop to it. So if you see any threats, if you see my name mentioned in any of these videos, I haven't seen any of them. I don't know who's making them. I don't know what's been going on behind the scenes. But if you see any of that, if you're privy to any of that, please direct them here to this channel and this particular live stream, because I want to set the record straight. So that's the main aim of this live stream. But I'll go through kind of what's happened for those who have absolutely no idea. I'll start from the beginning, and yeah, that'll be the majority. But I also want to play the 5-minute NewsNation piece that was done last night. Seth was on there, and Hannah, who is one of Seth's PIs, and Hannah has a theory about what happened to Sebastian. So, Rita, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. That's very, very kind. So Sheepy, Nonea Business, Rita Precasint, and Hug Dealer. Thank you so much, Rita. You are so kind. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So this is Sebastian Rogers. He's been missing now since the 26th of April. He's now been missing for over 2 months. He's 15. He's a white male, brown eyes, brown hair, 5'5", around 120 pounds. And he was last seen in the Stafford Court area of Hendersonville in Tennessee on, well, either the late night, I would say, by his mother, the late night of the 25th when he went to bed. And she went to get him up in the morning, and he wasn't there, and he hasn't been seen since. So anybody who's got any credible information about Sebastian can ring the Sumner County Emergency Communications Centre on 615-451-3838 or the TBI on 1-800-TBI-FIND. TBI's number is scrolling across your screen all the way through this live stream. Okay, so I need to share my screen a different way just to show you a couple of these things that have gone on. All right, so I've just put all these in a PowerPoint slide to make them easier to navigate. So yesterday, I think it was yesterday. All the days meld into one. But someone called Chris Busby made a post on Facebook, which then started to do the rounds on the Facebook groups, and it made it into my Facebook group. And I didn't know who Chris was. I believe he has a YouTube channel. I did a little bit of sleuthing, and I believe he has a YouTube channel. I believe he's like a search and rescue person who has a YouTube channel. Don't quote me on that. That's just what I could deduce. Okay. But this is what Chris said. Due to misinformation and safety concerns, me and my YouTube friends, CJ and Narked Divers, will no longer be searching for Sebastian Rogers. All leads from this point forward should be sent to the PIs or law enforcement. Sorry, but our safety has to come first. Now, it's not the first time that threats and safety concerns have been an issue for searchers in this case. The United Cajun Navy, who I've criticised on this channel, also said that there were safety concerns. JLR, Dolly Vision, when they were in the area, were not happy at the treatment that they received. So it's not the first time that there has been an issue in this case. I've never seen anything like it, to be quite honest. Never seen anything like it. Now, relating to the United Cajun Navy, Sumner County at a press conference said that they weren't aware of any threats, but United Cajun Navy came back and said they actually reported it to the Nashville Metro Police Department. So, I don't know, but this is a completely different issue, but still pertaining to safety concerns. All right. Now, I found this later in the day, after this had been posted, later in the day, I found this on Twitter, just from some random account who'd shared Chris's post. who then took it down and said, apparently narked divers are still in the search for Sebastian. That's good to know. So I removed my previous post. That was presumably this one. The thought of them being got at is too much. The whole case is too much. Keep looking, searching, and spreading the word for Sebastian. All right. Then Chris Busby came back and made another post and said, CJ said it better than I ever could. Here's the truth as to why we are no longer able to search. So I was like, what's going on? And that's when I started sleuthing to see if I could find out who Chris Busby was, because he seems to be associated with CJ, who has a channel, who's been on some of the searches. No, it's CJ that this seems to all pertain to, and one of my videos. But let me kind of lay the groundwork first. Let me lay the foundation to where I'm going with this. So I deduced that Chris was a searcher, and I found a channel that I think is his. All right, so I took this as being credible, and I thought, well, okay, let's take narc divers out of the situation because they've not come out and said that there are threats. So presumably this isn't relating to narc divers. This is relating to CJ and Chris. Cool. All right. Now we have to go back a day. We actually have to go back 3 days now, because this is why I believe that it's my video that has created some of this problem, some of this issue. Inadvertently, I think people have taken a few seconds of a video that I made 3 days ago, and they've, I don't know what they've done with it, because I haven't seen anything that's been done. But I have exchanged some emails with CJ. CJ contacted me. Now I'm going to play CJ's video shortly, but CJ contacted me and said that this video, let me just play this video. Again, I'm going to have to reshare. On this one. Okay, this is the issue. So I inadvertently created a problem for CJ. I have apologized. I've exchanged some emails with him, and I've blurred out it's literally a couple of seconds. That's all it is. So I'm going to play this. It's literally about 5 seconds, but it's what I say. Now, this is in relation to another search group who was there with, this is Trey from Narc Divers, right? This is, I don't know, about 3 weeks ago. Again, all the days, all the weeks, all the years roll into one when you get to my age. But a few weekends ago, Trey from Narc Divers, Brothers Underwater Recovery, and some other people, including CJ. I don't know whether Chris was there. This Chris Busby, I don't know whether he was there. But they were all there. Trey is walking this pond. This is the retention pond near the construction site that law enforcement drained way back in the early days. They drained this pond. But Trey from Narc Divers wanted to walk this pond and clear it for himself, right? And he literally walked backwards and forwards, and felt in the mud. This is just thick mud. Felt in the mud for anything around there. And they did find an item of clothing that wasn't related, but very painstaking, not very nice work. And on the bank was the guy from Brothers Underwater Recovery and some other people. I assumed, right, that all of the people who were on the bank were associated with Brothers Underwater Recovery. I had no reason not to assume that at the time, right? So literally, I played this 5-second clip being drained by law enforcement, but he wanted to rewalk it. They did another retention pond, traded all that work, and sat on the bank was the guy from Brothers Underwater Recovery. What's the problem with that, I hear you say? Because Brothers Underwater Recovery. Right. Okay. That was all I showed. Now, I've since blurred it out because one of the guys that was sat on that bank was CJ, who has his own channel. Right. And I didn't know that. I don't know what CJ looks like. I've seen some of his videos, but I've seen him searching. So he's got the camera faced away from him. I didn't know what he looked like. Right. So I just assumed that everybody on that bank was related to Brothers Underwater Recovery. That was my mistake. That is not true. I believe it was Brothers Underwater Recovery that was filming. So he's behind the camera. And then the other people sitting on the bank are just, you know, other searchers, one of them being CJ. So CJ contacted me and said that, you know, I've defamed him. He's really upset. And I was really confused. When I first got the email, I was really confused. I played the video back and I thought, I don't even mention CJ. I don't get it. So I asked him for the timestamp. So it was this, and he said he's the one in the yellow, and he's not associated with Brothers Underwater Recovery. The issue has all stemmed from the fact that it's been found out that Brothers Underwater Recovery, a guy called Ronnie, is a registered SO. So that's what this video was about, a registered SO search for Sebastian Rogers. So the people who've been searching with him are now backing out of all future, all future searches with him. They don't want to be associated with him. Understandably, Trey made a 5-hour live stream explaining the situation from his point of view. Someone else called Cooper, I think I talk about him. Yeah, this video. This guy here called Cooper. So this is Cooper's video that I'm sharing here. So this is Ronnie from Brothers Underwater Recovery. He's got in his past from a few years ago, he pled guilty. He pled guilty to the abuse of a 15-year-old. He pled guilty, although he said he didn't do it. So some of these divers who've been working with him found out. And then Trey from Not Divers was told. Ronnie told him himself. So Cooper made this video and said, I don't want anything to do. That's Cooper. I don't want anything to do with this guy. Trey came out and said, no, I found out this. I don't want anything to do with this guy. So this is the issue. This is the whole issue. So me saying at about 9 minutes in here, me saying and panning the camera over and it focusing for a second or two onto CJ, I can now understand why CJ was so distraught by it. Right, because it does look like I'm pointing the camera, even though I'm not there. It's Brothers Underwater Recovery's filming, but my words say Brothers Underwater Recovery, and it pans over to CJ. Get me? Right. So I told CJ that law enforcement, he wanted to rewalk it. They did another retention pond, traded all that work. And sat on the bank was the guy from Brothers Underwater Recovery. What's the problem with that, I hear you say? So there you go. That's how this all issues arise. So people are now, according to CJ, now I'm not going to, hold on a minute. I'm not going to read his emails. We've exchanged emails. We've corrected the problem, but in one of his emails, CJ says people are now accusing me of being Brothers Underwater Recovery because of your video. So this is why I am here setting the record straight. The guy who was on the bank, who the camera pans over to in the yellow, was not Ronnie, was not the registered SO. The guy on the bank in the yellow was CJ. Right? So anybody using this clip, using my words, from now on, you need to stop. You need to apologize and you need to stop. I've apologized to CJ, both in email and on a video. And I'm going to apologize once again to CJ and anybody else who has had any negativity whatsoever because of this video. Right? That was never my intention. It is a mess. It's absolutely a mess. But I'm clearing up my little part of it. I'm clearing up my part of it. Now, the day after I made this video, I made another video. So the majority of the video, this one, Sebastian Rogers, no confession, no evidence, or Katie and Chris following orders. The majority of this video wasn't about this issue. But at the beginning of the video, I did make that correction. So I'm going to play that. Buy a bike, buy something connected to bikes, then that's all there was to that one. Secondly, in the second portion of yesterday's video, I showed a few seconds of narc divers, Trey, searching the retention pond, like walking that retention pond. It's near the construction site. And it pans over to about 3 or 4 people sitting on the bank. I said, this is Brothers Underwater Recovery, or words to that effect. And the camera, obviously not my camera, whoever was filming it, pans over. So someone called CJ contacted me and said, can I please fix the fact that it was him on the bank and not Brothers Underwater Recovery? So I have blurred out those people on the bank. I think that's the only time it shows someone else who could be confused with Brothers Underwater Recovery. So I've blurred it out. It does take a couple of hours for it to kind of show the new version on YouTube, but hopefully by the time this video uploads, that will have been done. So apologies to CJ for any distress that might have caused. I understand it's a very delicate subject, difficult subject. I don't like making videos like that, but everything has to be out there, and there you go. All right, let's move on. Nick Barris from... Okay, so just to get all of this absolutely clear, CJ is not Ronnie from Brothers Underwater Recovery. The only person, to my knowledge, who is a registered SO, who has been involved in the search for Sebastian, is Ronnie from Brothers Underwater Recovery. CJ is not Brothers Underwater Recovery. He's his own person. He was there on the bank, unaware that Ronnie was a registered SO, as was Trey. And now that they're all aware of it, they don't want to work with Ronnie anymore. So, with that said, I'm going to play you CJ's video because he explains why this has become an issue for him. And it's hopefully the people who have been threatening or making accusations based on my video will now stop. Now, I don't know if there's other things as well. I don't know if there's, other accusations that are being made. I've no idea. I can only do what I can do from my end. All right, so I'm going to play you this video from CJ.
Regrettably decided to terminate my search efforts for the missing child, Sebastian Rogers. Although unfortunate, I feel this is the appropriate decision given the recent set of circumstances. Under the encouragement of a certain content creators, the conversations taking place in their communities, and the fact that I have been subjected to an aggressive onslaught of nonsense and misinformation, I have no choice. I'd like to reiterate that our short-lived association with Brothers Underwater Recovery was in their capacity as the chosen search crew of the family's private investigative team. Our brief interactions with them were with Sebastian's best interest at heart, and our only goal was to assist the family and, by extension, their selected search crew. It is important to note that our participation in search efforts has always been with the intention of finding Sebastian. 2 days after our coordinated weekend search with Brothers Underwater Recovery, we were made aware of their illicit history and have had no dealings with them since. Over the past few days, I've been emotionally impacted by the defamatory and derogatory nonsense that has begun to cloud this case, to the point that I've been unable to continue with my normal shows. I feel that I have poured all my soul and energy into conducting these searches and trying to find justice for the victims and their families. However, I also feel that I've reached a point where my safety has been severely compromised, and I am simply forced to distance myself from the search efforts. I have made this decision solely of my own accord and have never been asked to refrain from searching. This is evident in the fact that we continued to search for Sebastian, even when others had given up doing so. This is not a decision that I take lightly, as it has always been in my nature to give 150% to everything that I do, as I've demonstrated over the past month and more just for Sebastian, not to mention all the others. The slander and false accusations with no basis against me in recent days have diminished my ability to effectively continue searching. Regrettably, the conduct of certain content creators has ruined any potential progress I may have had in assisting the communities of Hendersonville, Tennessee. I believe I have demonstrated my commitment to helping these communities to the absolute best of my capabilities every moment. I only wish I had been afforded the opportunity to continue to do so without the false and defamatory comments about myself.
Okay, so that's kind of the bulk of the video, and I'll leave a link. I'll put a link to this in the chat, and I'll put it in the description box after. I just forgot. But that's the link to CJ's video. Again, right, whatever else has happened, whatever else CJ's talking about, he has stated to me personally in email that, I'll read the words again. Hold on. Where's it gone? Okay. People are now accusing me of being Brothers Underwater Recovery because of your video. So I'm going to lay this to rest now. Not going to talk about this anymore. But just let me make it absolutely clear that Brothers Underwater Recovery, the RSO, is called Ronnie. He is not CJ. CJ is not part of Brothers Underwater Recovery. He's his own person, has his own channel. Yes, he happened to be there on that day, assisting with the searches, but he's not part of Brothers Underwater Recovery. So anybody who is using my video, this video, registered SO search for Sebastian Rogers, now does not have any reason, any at all, to use this video. So I would rather you use this video right now, or the video that I made a day after, giving the correction, in your videos. Anybody's welcome to use my content as long as they credit me. Anybody's, you know, whether you want to use a clip, whether you want to critique, whether you want to do anything with my content, you are welcome to do so, as long as you credit me. However, if you're using this content to create an issue, anything that's negative towards anybody searching for Sebastian Rogers, you do not have my permission to do so, and I will strike you. I will strike you if I find out you are using this video and this content in a negative way. If you're using my content to clip, to critique, that's fine. If you're critiquing me, that's fine. But if you're using this video to create negativity in any way towards anybody out there searching for Sebastian Rogers, I will strike you. All right. So there's that. And I never strike. I actually struck one person once for taking my entire video and uploading it as if it was their own work. That's a breach of copyright. Clipping, critiquing, using other people's content, I do that all the time. It's fair use. It makes your videos richer. It makes your videos, have a range of opinions, all of that stuff. All of that's fair use. So that's absolutely fine. Do not get me mixed up with somebody who just strikes anybody for using any of my content. No, I'm not saying that at all. Anybody, whether you like me or not, is welcome to use my stuff, as long as you credit me with it being my work. Okay. But if you're using this video to create an issue for anybody searching for Sebastian Rogers, then we have a problem. Houston, you're going to have a problem. All right. All that said, putting it to bed. Hopefully, any criticism, negativity, accusations, hopefully all that gets sorted out. I don't know who's taken this and used it. I don't know. However, moving swiftly on. Now, I did have some comments earlier on. Saying who's searching for Sebastian now. I can't find it now. But anyway, I can't find it now. But somebody said who's searching for Sebastian now. Well, Seth and the PIs are now in the forefront of the search for Sebastian. So one of the PIs, this is Hannah. There's another PI as well. But she's the one, she was on the Surviving the Survivor channel the other day. She was very interesting. I played a clip from that in one of my previous videos. So she's doing a lot of work. She posted on her Facebook, which is one of the things I've not got up. So just a second. Okay. She posted this yesterday. Up there. Here we go. All right. So Hannah belongs to Justice Warrior Investigations. So she says, Tracy and I have been working on the Sebastian Rogers case for a couple of weeks now, and I must say we hit the ground running. I had a lot of catching up to do. Again, I want to say that we appreciate every lead, so thank you to everyone who has sent information. As we say in every case we work, please don't hesitate to call or message us with information. You may think it's nothing, but we won't know until we've had the opportunity to check it out. Obviously, I cannot share information that we haven't eliminated yet, but I can tell you some of the things that we have personally ruled out, not to be confused with law enforcement's investigation on what they have or haven't ruled out. So she's not saying that she's cleared these people on behalf of law enforcement. Law enforcement have their own investigation going, and law enforcement will have way more information than any of us and more information than the PIs do. But the PIs, the idea of being a PI is working privately. So the word private in private investigator, people get confused. It doesn't mean somebody who's sneaking about, like sneaking about undercover. Doesn't mean that. You know, he's sneaking about getting information, you know, looking around fences, looking through people's windows, or looking in dumpsters, getting your trash. No, private just means that you're working privately for, you know, for someone, rather than being employed by a government agency, you know, like law enforcement. All right. I'm sure some PIs do sneak about and hide behind fences, but that's up to them. That's them. Private just means that you're working for someone privately. You're doing your own investigation, either, you know, employed by for money, or you're doing it pro bono, whichever. It doesn't matter. It's just that's between the PI and the person who's, you know, employed them. I don't know what money Seth's giving them, if any, but that's what P in the PI means, private. See all sorts, honestly. Saying, how come she's on podcasts? How come she's on YouTube channel? And now she's on NewsNation. How can she be a PI if she say no? All right. All right. So this is what she's ruled out. But she's making it clear. It doesn't mean to say because she has ruled it out that law enforcement have. All right. So the sex offender that lives within a mile of Stafford Court is no longer a person of interest in my investigation. I interviewed him, got his alibi, and validated his alibi thoroughly. So I know what offender she's talking about. I've had a look at the SO list, the RSO list for that area, and there is one very close to Sebastian's homes, about a mile away. And she's ruled that person out. Now, I'd be interested to know who this alibi is. I mean, not by name, but, you know, what time span does this alibi cover? You know, does it cover the time that Sebastian went missing, so between midnight and 6 a.m., or does it cover the whole of the 26th, or does it cover, I don't know, but that's just what Hannah has been able to deduce. This is the big one for me. I can tell you that I know for a fact that Chris Proudfoot was accounted for in the Ivy Park on Sunday evening and was on the job site at 5:15 a.m. on the morning that Sebastian was reported missing. When someone posted this in my Facebook group, I think it was in Facebook, I said, cue the conspiracy theory that the PIs are secretly working for Chris Proudfoot. I'm sure there are people saying that right now, but no. Okay. And it would be fairly simple to eliminate Chris, because that RV park, you know, people have been there, people have filmed it. It's a small RV park. It's very close to a road. It surely has a surveillance camera. So if you can look at that surveillance camera and no vehicles left on the Sunday night into the Monday morning, no vehicles left that site, nobody walked away from that site, and you know that Chris was there, so you know Chris was there, you saw him going there, and then you don't see him coming out until the following day when he goes to work, then you know he's been there all night. Come on, obviously you know he's been there all night. Unless he's got a cloak of invisibility. If he's wearing a cloak of invisibility, maybe he's got a massive cloak that he can put over an entire vehicle. Come on now. So if you know he was there all night until he left for work, so this RV park is about, 15 minutes drive from his work site at Memphis. Don't quote me on that, but it's very close. It's over the border in Mississippi, but it's very close to his job site in Memphis. So if you know that he clocked into work at 5:15 a.m., all you've got to all you've got to have is a surveillance camera that shows no one leaving and a clarification that when he did leave, he went to work. So that's a fact. And I am very sure that law enforcement have that same information. So can we please stop saying that Chris Proudfoot drove, left his phone on so it looked like he was having this long conversation, which was possible. Look, if it was planned, it's possible that you could leave your phone on and just pretend that you're having a phone call and you're actually not. Your phone's in an RV park and you're on the road to Stafford Court to go and off your stepson. I mean, yeah, that was possible. However, it didn't happen because Chris was at the RV park all night. Confirmed. All right. So can we please stop saying that he went to, he left, he went to Stafford Court and murdered Sebastian or disappeared Sebastian or helped Katie cover up some kind of accident that could be neglectful, whatever, and then drove back to the RV park and then they reported him missing and then he drove back again. All right. No, come on. All right. So we did follow up on the lead regarding Republic Dumpsters. So I assume Republic Dumpsters are a company being dumped at the Gallatin landfill that caught on fire. So I didn't know that there'd been a landfill that caught on fire. That is false. The dumpsters were dumped at AAA in Nashville. Also, I was able to confirm with law enforcement that those dumpsters were checked thoroughly in the early morning hours of February 26th. So this is in relation to, and I speculated this, was it possible? Because we know that the trash truck was around the area on that early morning. Was it possible that the trash truck knocked him over and someone panicked and threw him in the trash, knew he was dead and threw him in the trash? There was other people saying that the trash was heavier, like the personal trash from, the Proudfoot's home was heavier than normal. Now, Sebastian was 113 pounds. So if you've got a dead body of 113 pounds in your bin, in your whatever you use to take your trash out, that is heavy. But none of that happened. There has been an issue between the landfill that was searched about 9 or 10 days into this case. A landfill in Kentucky was searched. So there have been some confusion, and I've been confused about this. That's why I've not really talked about it very much, because I've been confused about this. That it's been said that the domestic waste, so the stuff from people's houses that they put on the on the curbside or in their driveway to get collected by the trash truck, it's been said that doesn't go to the landfill in Kentucky. That stays local. It's the dumpsters from the construction site, like that industrial waste, that gets taken to Kentucky. So anyhow, whichever it is, I mean, we know that law enforcement checked a landfill in Kentucky. So whether it's the industrial waste from the construction site that goes there, because they've got like big dumpsters on their site, was it possible that Sebastian, crawled inside one? Well, they're huge, so he'd have to climb up the side, fell asleep, and got taken away in the trash. I don't think that happened, but that was checked out. Now, whether the domestic waste went to that same landfill in Kentucky or it stayed more locally, it actually doesn't matter. It's a moot point, because the landfill at Kentucky was searched by law enforcement. we saw the pictures of them there. And also a local landfill in Nashville also was checked. That must have been one of the first things they did, was to check the local. So that's probably the nearest dump site. So I think we can be as sure as we can be that he wasn't put in the trash, like by a family member or by an SO, or had an accident and ended up in a dumpster, right? I think we can be sure as we can be that that didn't happen. There is a lot of misinformation in this case. There is. That's why, you know, I think I'm going to start doing more lives on this case than recorded videos, because at least then I can clear up things. Because when I make a recorded video, you know, I can respond to people in the comments, but sometimes there's like 500 or more comments, and I just physically can't reply to every single one. So then I end up making a video the day after to address something. So if I did it live, at least I could address it at the time, you know, in real time. But then again, some people don't watch lives. Some people prefer the shorter recorded videos. So I can't win. I'll do a mix. I'll do a mix of both. Maybe every other day I'll do a live. Maybe one day I'll do a recorded video and another day I'll do a live. I don't know. I don't know. All right. So I think we can be sure, as we can be, that he's not in the landfill in Kentucky, and he's not in one of the local landfills. Many of you have questioned what we, so Chloe's the other PI, myself and our teams are and have been doing. I cannot share that with you in detail, and I'm sorry for that, because it's an ongoing investigation from their point of view. They've got to do their investigation, eliminate what they can, and once they've been, you know, they're sure that they've eliminated a certain angle, then they can say, like they've said here. But stuff that they're actually working on, stuff that they're following up, active leads, they can't share that. Just like law enforcement don't share their investigation. However, I promise you that we are all working very hard to find Sebastian and get to the bottom of what happened to him. I will provide more updates when I have something that can be shared. This isn't 9 to 5 for us, it's 24/7. Thank you all for your support. Respectfully, Heather. So that is Justice Warrior Investigations. So if you want to follow them, that's what they are on Facebook. So I'm following this page now on Facebook. All right, so that leads me nicely on to NewsNation. So this was 10 hours ago. So it was actually the middle of the night my time, but I have seen this. I've watched it once. Now it's only 5 minutes. We're going to play it, and I'm going to stop it a few times for fair use. You know, so that it's an actual piece that I'm commenting on. It's under fair use. But there are some things I want to discuss anyway. So let's get this from the beginning. Now, the night before this, there's no sound. There's no sound, really. Can't hear it. All right, hold on. Your browser has lost connection to your screen share audio. Try sharing your screen again. Okay. All right. How annoying. All right, sorry, guys. Where is it? Which one is it? Here we go. Here we go. All right. This is StreamYard. You can hear me now. Good. This is StreamYard that has the problem with audio. It does have audio issues occasionally. Right, let me know if you can hear this now.
Joining me now is Seth Rogers, Sebastian's father, and Michael Cohen, a private investigator who is now working with him on the case. Thank you both for joining us. Seth, I have to...
Okay, so did you hear that? Works now, good. All right. So StreamYard just, I don't know, lost the connection. Okay, so we're all fine now. So Seth was on Vinny Politan's show on Court TV the night before this, and Vinny's face when Seth said that law enforcement wouldn't speak to him, Vinny's face was a picture. It was so funny. So if you saw that Court TV piece, I did share a little bit of it in my video yesterday, actually. I'll play it. Hold on a minute. All right. Hold on. Where is it? Because a lot of people missed it because it was right at the end of a 40-minute piece on Madeline Soto, and then they had Seth on right at the end, and Vinny's face. Let me just find it. Hold on. Come on now. I think it's this.
I've got them to come in to see if we can actually find anything that maybe Sumner County Sheriff's Office wasn't able to get.
That sounds great. Now, obviously...
And how is that developed? Is the help there from Chris and Katie? I've been sending Chris and Katie emails for things that I already have in the works. I'm currently waiting on Chris to approve what I've sent to him.
What? Waiting for Chris. I don't want Michelle. I want Vinny. It's in here somewhere.
Then, you know...
If he doesn't approve it, then go ahead. Chris doesn't approve it. Puffer
has several different background clearances, classification bombs to see if we can actually find anything that maybe Sumner County Sheriff's Office wasn't able to get.
That sounds great. Now, obviously, after 2 months, live scent tracking must have been absolutely pointless because any scent that Sebastian left.
Is that you are now working with Chris and Katie. Chris, his stepfather, and Katie, his mom. So all of you are now putting aside your differences and working together? Chris approached me at the vigil last weekend and asked if, you know, we could drop our egos and work together to find Sebastian. And I told him as long as he's willing to help, I'll take any of the help I can get.
Good stuff. A lot of speculation, Seth, that was confrontation Chris's side.
My ego is not enough to stop me from accepting help to try to find my son.
That's good.
And how is that developed? Is the help there from Chris and Katie? I've been sending Chris and Katie emails for things that I already have in the works. I'm currently waiting on Chris to...
And us needs, but I don't know whether that post by or not.
Rescue qualified, their 501c, how to open to anything like that we can.
Sounds good. That sounds by that. Ego class.
I think that's all this stuff that I've been working on, and I've sent it to him. I'm just waiting on him to get back with me and be on the same plan with me, find Sebastian.
I wouldn't wait, honestly, but I don't was related to Seth.
This got to me. She said she's getting daily updates from law enforcement. Are you getting daily updates from law enforcement? No, sir.
And there was just this like long pause. Oh dear. Yeah. So Hannah, the PI, attempts to explain why law enforcement aren't speaking to Seth. Now, in yesterday's video, I speculated that Seth is, he's a lot. He's a lot to deal with. There's a lot to deal with, this Seth. And perhaps they're speaking to Katie because she's easier to deal with. And she's doing what they say. She's abiding by like the stuff that they don't want her to tell. Whereas Seth has gone online and talked to just about everybody who will have him on their channel. Why would Seth need Chrissy's improvement? I think you mean approval. That's just what Seth said. It's what Seth said. Does anybody know when Chris' next court date is for his trial with Nina? Since it was put off, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. All right, so we can go back to NewsNation now and play this.
Start with you. First of all, I can't imagine being in your shoes. I'm so sorry that you're experiencing this, and I'm grateful that you're joining us tonight. I think our viewers need to understand Sebastian was not physically in the home with you. You are no longer married to his mother, but I just want to check in with you, see how you're doing, and if you know anything tonight that you can share with us.
Just know that he's still missing. I know that there's been really no leads that have been shared with me by law enforcement.
When you say there's no leads, are you working with law enforcement? Are they communicating with you?
Not communicating with me. They're communicating with anybody who'd be my private investigator.
Okay, Heather, I want to weave you in.
So they're not communicating. They've probably told him. They've probably said, we don't want to talk to you anymore, dude. You're a hothead. And look, I'm not blaming Seth for being a hothead. I'm a hothead. I am. I really am. So I can't say anything against that. So the next court date's in May. Says Beach Life, please. Beach Life, please. Says the next court date for Chris and Nina is in May. So I can't confirm that, but Seth looks broken. He does absolutely. Seth's out of the loop. But thankfully, it appears that his PIs aren't out of the loop. It appears, according to this PI who's going to speak in a moment, it appears that she is now, I suppose, got the trust of law enforcement, if you will. But this is what she says.
Into the conversation, you started working with Seth. Why are you working with Seth, and what can you tell us so far?
Well, I had received several phone calls, people asking me to get involved in the case, but I wouldn't do it until I was invited in by a family member or law enforcement. And I did end up getting that phone call. A friend of mine said they talked to Seth and he was looking for somebody, a PI to hire, and he had referred me. So I called Seth and here we are. That was about 2 weeks ago. And yes, law enforcement was standoffish at first with me. And I think that's just because, they had some, Seth can be hard to deal with because he's going through a lot right now.
Well, yeah.
Seth can be hard to deal with. And Seth, he's like, you look at his posture. He's like, crossed his arms, like, so yeah. But it seems that law enforcement probably thought, oh, this PI from Seth, she's going to be a nightmare as well. But it appears that law enforcement have perhaps warmed to her and realised that, she's actually professional. She's doing her job. And it does appear that they're now sharing some things with her. So that's good.
I mean, it's a lot of trauma. So what can you tell us so far about your investigation? What have you learned? What were the circumstances of the home, of his mother, of his stepdad, the thud that they heard?
Well, I can tell you.
So what she's giving is her theory. And the title of NewsNation's piece here is Sebastian Rogers' disappearance due to domino effect of events from the PI. So the domino effect of events, Hannah is going to explain. So that's why it says domino effects in the title of this live stream, for anybody wondering. So this is Hannah's theory of what happened to Seth. Somebody says they can't hear it. Can you all hear it? Just me, JB, you might be behind. You might be a little bit behind. Everyone else can hear it. Am I right? Everyone else can hear it. Okay. Just me, you are a few minutes behind. So just fast forward a little.
I'll tell you that from my investigation, I believe that this is a domino effect of events. I believe that we have to go all the way back to probably December and January are going to be key months. There are a lot of events. There was a lot of turmoil surrounding Sebastian. We know that Chris Profit was in the middle of a custody battle with his ex-wife. We know that the daughter did visit over Christmas break. We know that Sebastian was with Seth during that time. We know that that there was a DCS referral in, I believe, February to the Stafford home. That call was likely determined to be unfounded because the case was closed and that file is restricted at this time.
So the DCS referral, so CPS, we just call it social services here in the UK, but I think the majority of states in the US call it CPS, like Child Protective Services. So DCS is the equivalent of CPS. So there was a referral in February. So the same month that Sebastian disappeared. Now, we were told on Nancy Grace by Chris that the CPS was years ago. So has there been multiple CPS reports or what? Now, look, I'm not saying because there's been CPS reports that that's in direct, directly related to Sebastian's disappearance. Don't get me wrong. I do not believe that Seth did anything to Sebastian. I believe he was at work. Chris, I don't believe did anything to Sebastian. He was in his RV park 3.5 hours away. And Katie was there, but I don't believe she did anything either. I just don't. Now, if somebody did something, it would have to be Katie because she was there and the other two parents weren't. But my personal view is Katie did not do anything, but that's just my personal view. And I can't substantiate it with anything. That's just my opinion. However, the CPS case or cases have an indirect effect on Sebastian. And I've made this point before in previous videos, that is it possible that Sebastian overheard them arguing? That phone call, that 3-hour phone call, were they arguing? Was Sebastian upset? Did he go out? Did he leave because he was upset? Now, whether he left because he intended to run away or he left because he just wanted to go for a walk to clear his head, to get out of this, atmosphere, either of those things are on the cards, in my opinion. And it seems to be where the PI is also going with her theory.
I know Seth has tried to find out more about that call and he has been unsuccessful in doing so. But I've also recently learned that there may have been some talk about Chris leaving Katie. And I feel that probably had something to do with Sebastian. So there may have been some trouble in paradise.
Now, that is a very significant statement, in my opinion. Now, she just says, I believe. She doesn't say, I've confirmed as a fact. She says, I believe. So this is her theory, isn't it? Let's be clear that she has more information than we do because she's been working this case as a private investigator. So she's got more information. She's spoken probably to more people. She's spoken to law enforcement. Now, law enforcement won't have opened their case file and showed her everything that they've been working on. But they'll perhaps have warmed her a little bit and have shared some things that they won't share publicly. Right? So it has been a rumor that there was trouble in paradise, that Katie and Chris's marriage was on the rocks. That's been speculated. I've not been able to confirm any of that. But people like statement analysts and stuff, like Peter Hyatt is one, who've been saying that Katie isn't saying everything. Katie's holding something back. And Seth now has kind of latched onto that. Seth also thinks that Katie's holding something back. Could it be that what she's holding back is that their marriage was on the rocks and their relationship was very strained and they were arguing on the phone that night? That's what she's holding back. It's as simple as that. Now, none of that relates directly to Sebastian's disappearance in that she hasn't gone into his room and hit him and he's, I don't know, fallen over, cracked his head on something and died. And then she's had to cover up, a death. That's a direct effect, isn't it? That's a direct cause and effect. Katie gets mad, goes in, doesn't mean to kill him, but hits him and he falls and he cracks his head and then she panics, right? That's a direct effect. Somebody arguing about their marriage and Sebastian feeling upset and then leaving, that's an indirect effect. She may have not even realised that Sebastian could hear what was going on. It's not still foul play, Devil Doll. It's not. Her going in, hitting him, and him cracking his head open and dying, that's foul play. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that would be a direct effect, a direct causal event. I don't believe that happened. I really don't believe that happened. But that's just my opinion. I believe, and it seems to be where the PI is going with her theory, that perhaps Sebastian left because he was upset. And whether that was just going out for a walk to clear his head and something untoward happened to him, or whether he literally ran away. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. And he literally ran away and then got into problems. I don't believe they removed him via the garage. Why? Because they'd have been spotted. They'd have been spotted.
To me, these are all things that need to be considered. Could these things have led up to maybe Sebastian just feeling a certain kind of way, right, and leaving? If he overheard a conversation between Chris and Katie where Chris is saying he can't deal with it anymore, he's out, whatever, that right, could have been motivation for Sebastian to just leave.
That's exactly where I've gone with my theory. Exactly where I've gone. That he was upset. And maybe it's that 3-hour conversation. There was an argument. Sebastian maybe heard his name mentioned, maybe felt that no one loved him, and he decided to leave, either permanently or for a walk just to clear his head. And unfortunately, he didn't come back. There's a range of reasons why he might not have come back. He might have met a nefarious person, a predator. That's possible. That happened to Michael Vaughan. That's very possible. Doesn't happen very often, thankfully, but it's very possible. It's a theory you absolutely cannot discount. Or I think possibly he's fallen down some kind of ravine or hole, and that's why drones and helicopters haven't picked him up. Because that wooded area here, I believe is here. I've said this a lot now. I believe is in this area. Or he could have gone further out and be as far as here, or even here. Because that's all dense woodland. Now, there's a few houses here. There's houses along this road, and there's houses along here. But if he's in this area, there's no houses. There's a power line cut right the way through there. where it'd be easier to walk on. I think he's in here somewhere. I do. I really do. I really do. And something horrible happened to him. We know that he's wandered that neighborhood before. He's 15. He may have a mental age of younger, like his social skills might not be as well adapted as most 15-year-olds, but he was very intelligent. And he's 15. He's got the, you know, the hormones of a 15-year-old. He wants some independence. And him going for a walk in his neighborhood at 15, come on, there's nothing wrong with that. Neighbors, 2 neighbors on the dispatch call said that they'd seen him in the neighborhood on previous occasions. So we know that he wandered around. We know that he was, you know, trusted to be left home alone sometimes. So it could be his regular pattern that he went out. Sometimes. You think Katie sold him? No, I don't think so. I really don't think so. In relation to the internet, now all the parents have said that he doesn't have social media, that he can't access the internet via his games. I've always disputed that. I've always thought that a 15-year-old who wanted to get on the internet would be able to get on the internet, would be able to bypass parental controls, or would have accessed the internet in some other way, maybe at school. I'm less inclined to think that he met someone online who lured him away, given the time span. I thought that was my number one theory in the early days. That was my number one theory. But given we're now 2 months down the line, I think if there had been a luring situation that was, you know, of an online nature, I think law enforcement would be handling this case very differently. So it's still very possible, but I think if that was the case, law enforcement would be aware of that by now. Unless Sebastian and this person who did lure him away was very clever. So used an app that didn't store the message details. Now, there are apps that are encrypted. If Sebastian was intelligent enough to be using one of those apps, then it is possible that law enforcement would never be able to work out that relationship. But they've had the Secret Service in on this. That's why the Secret Service were called in, you know, because they've got the best tech of anybody. Did I check the time it takes to get from the restaurant to home? No, why should I? Because Sebastian made it home. Sebastian made it home. But no, it's not a long journey. Yeah, Seth did allow him on the internet at his house, but he said that it was always under his supervision. But I think he could have got online. I think the average teenager is clever enough to know how to get online. Honestly. So, yeah, 20 minutes from the restaurant to home. It's not a long journey at all. Do I think now PIs are involved, we're going to get answers sooner? If the answer's out there, then yes. But if he literally wandered away and he's in here somewhere and his body's either been missed by the initial searches, because we know that at least some of this was within the 5-mile radius, not all of it. If you get beyond here, that's not in the 5-mile radius. But time after time after time, we hear of bodies being found in areas that have been searched multiple times. I made a video recently, including the case of Bryn Hargreaves from West Virginia. And he was missing for 14 months. I've got all the search data for that case. and you know that where the dogs went. And there's a wooded patch, a small wooded area, about 300 yards away from his home, and that's where his body was found. 14 months later, there'd been multiple searches, multiple PIs on the case, and Bryn's body was found down a small ravine, and that's why everybody missed him. So it's possible that Sebastian's body could have been missed. I know people want to think that he's still alive, and he may well be. He may well be. He may have got away, and he's living somewhere with someone. Possibly, it's a long shot. Let's face it, it's a long shot. But I'm not gonna say no. He's definitely dead. You know, stop being ridiculous. How can he be alive after this time? We do know in some cases kids have wandered off and they've lived somewhere with someone else, whether that's under duress or not, and they turn up years later. So it's still possible that he's alive somewhere. But if he's deceased, I believe he's in here, or if he's got further out, then he's possibly in here. So unless people go back and search all of this with a fine-tooth comb, there may be no other answer that no one, whether law enforcement or the PIs, could ever get to, because the answer is in here. And if no one searches it, then there's not going to be an answer. But he might not be there. That's just where I think he is. That's my personal opinion. So nearly at the end of this, I'm going to let this play through to the end now.
I want to bring you back into the conversation. Was Sebastian safe at his mother's home?
I've heard some things. I have mixed feelings about that.
Were you addressing it with your former wife?
Information that has been brought to my attention has been information received since Sebastian has left.
And the morning after he left, what happened in the home? Can you answer that?
I know that I received a phone call on my cell phone that I didn't get until I got off of work. Everything else would be law enforcement or speaking to Chris Proudfoot to figure out what happened.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to join.
Okay. So that's the entire piece. So that's NewsNation. I'll put a link to this in the chat, and I'll also put a link to it in the description box after, because I forgot to do it before. But for the replay crew, the link is in the description box. Okay. Yeah, he does have meds, but they're not life-threatening. Like, if he doesn't take them, it's not like he's diabetic and he needs insulin. They're not life, affirming medications. They're to deal with his symptoms. So yes, he's autistic, but he has a chromosomal disorder called 6q27 chromosomal deletion syndrome. I did a whole live stream on that disorder. If you want to go and check that out, it's over on Michelle Walks, I think. Hold on, I think it's on Michelle Walks. I even lose what channel's on what. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah, so it's this video from 3 weeks ago. Sebastian Rogers and 6q27 chromosomal deletion syndrome. So I go through what the syndrome is, possible symptoms, possible signs of it, and what, everything about it. But yeah, he does have medication, but if the fact that he's not taking it doesn't mean he'll die because of it. Was any meds missing? I haven't heard that any meds were missing. He was in mainstream classes, yeah. He was in like a special program, but he was doing mainstream subjects. He just had a little bit of additional help. There was a teenager who ran away and showed up after she turned 18. Been living with an older man, but she was a full-on gamer and met him online. Was that the what's her name? Alicia Navarro? Was it that case? Because she disappeared and then turned up years later and she'd been living with some guy. And then she wanted to, I don't know, get a job or get social security card and whatever. So she turned herself into the police. And she'd been missing for a few years. Walkabout Bridge. Thank you for the $11.11. That's very specific. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you. Charlie is still boots on the ground despite getting followed. Who's Charlie? I'm not aware of Charlie. Does Charlie have a channel? You see, if these people are TikTokers, because there's a lot of TikTokers who are out and about, you know, searching on loads of cases, and I don't know who they are because I do have a TikTok account, but I don't post on it very often, and I don't follow anyone on TikTok. But if Charlie has a channel, let me know the channel name and I'll check it out. Local Charlie. Is that the YouTube channel? Okay. All right. Local Charlie. All right, these are all the Charlies. So which Charlie is it? We've got Charlie, your local Charlie, Charlie Vlogs, Charlie, Charlie, Dr. Charlie Untangled, Charlie. Which Charlie is it? Channel's name's Charlie. This one. This him. So look. No, only done one video. First one, he's only done, so he doesn't post on YouTube then. So he's not done any videos. Oh, he deletes his video. He deletes his videos. Why? Why does he delete his videos? But searches every day. His channel got hacked yesterday. Oh dear. He needs to put the two-factor authentication on. I know it's annoying, but if you, yeah, there are a lot of YouTube channels that are getting hacked. So if you have a channel, put on the two-factor authentication. So it's a lot harder to hack. And also, little trick, the email address that you display, if you display an email address on your About section or in your description box, make it a different address than your Google channel address. So MichelleAfterDark has a different email, like linked to that account, than the email that you see in my About section. Because what people do is they take your email and they try to guess your password. And if they guess your password, then they can just go in and delete all your videos. So use a different email address than the one that's linked to your account and put on two-factor authentication. And that makes it, I guess it's still possible, but it makes it a lot harder for you to be hacked. So do those 2 steps and you should be okay. So if anybody wants to try and hack me to test the theory, you're very welcome to. And also, if you save all your videos, if you make video content, save all your videos. Like, don't just put them on YouTube and then delete them off your device. Save them all. I've got like multiple external hard drives with every single video that I've ever made ever on. So if something happens to my channel, I still have all my videos. So you can't get rid of me ever, because I have all my videos and I just repost them. But that's just a word to the wise. His account got hacked. He's very new to YouTube. Oh, it's so bad. People are so mean. People are just so mean. What's that about my FB page? Cammy, have you put anything about her on Michelle's FB page? Kinsley Welty. Who's that? Is that a missing person? According to Katie, she sent him to bed at 9, heard a thud at 10, 6 a.m. He wasn't in his room. So was the bed ever slept in? Yeah, that's a good point, Karina. That's a good point. Was his bed slept in? So did he go to bed and then get up at some point in the night? Or did he wait until he heard Katie go into bed and then sneak out? So he could have even... I mean, Katie said she was in the living room and she would have seen him if he'd left while she was up. So did he wait for her to go to bed? Or was she having a row with Chris and she wasn't in the living room the whole time? Like maybe she went in her bedroom earlier than 12. Or she was walking about, I don't know. And he snuck out. I think he snuck out after she'd gone to bed. That's just my personal opinion. But it's a good point. Was his bed slept in? Like, did his bed look like it had been slept in? Like, you wouldn't tell with me because I never make my bed. So you would never tell whether my bed's been slept in or not. So it may not be possible to even tell if his bed, didn't get made. But it's a good question. Did she check on him when she heard the thud? No, she shouted through, apparently, and said, whatever you're doing, knock it off or whatever, go to sleep. I think she said, did you fall out of bed? So she said, did you fall out of bed? And he said, no, ma'am. And then she went, oh, knock it off and go to sleep. So no, she didn't check on him. But he's 15. It's not like he's 3 or 1. And, if he'd fallen out of bed, he could potentially really have hurt himself. So if your kid's like 3 years old and you hear a thud from the bedroom, of course you go and check on them. But if you're 15, they could be doing all sorts of stuff. They're 15. So shouting through, telling him to go to sleep, I think is perfectly fine. Like my son's 21, right? And he was in last night and I heard a thud from his room. I heard a thud from his room. Then I heard some banging from his room. Did I go in to see if someone was beating him up? No, I didn't. Was I neglectful? No, because he's a grown man. Would I have done it when he was 15? No. What did I do instead? I shouted. Actually, I think he went to the loo and I shouted, saying, stop banging, you'll wake Rita up. Rita lives next door. She's recently had a stroke. And her bedroom, and his bedroom share a wall. So I said, shut up, you'll wake Rita up. That's what I did. So Not checking on the thud's a big red flag. No, it isn't. Come on, Kathy. Seriously. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Does your son have a history of seizures? No. I would, at 50, I wouldn't check on it. Like, if you hear a noise and you shout through and they answer you, why would you go in? No, I wouldn't check on a thud with a 15-year-old. I'd shout through. If it was sufficiently loud that it got on my nerves, then I'd shout through. Yeah, they bang about all the time. Yeah, kids are 17 and 23. They bang about all the time. Exactly. Exactly. If you're rushing into the room when they're apt, you know, they're an adult or almost an adult. His history of seizure is why she should have checked. Well, how long since you last had a seizure? Because Seth said it was a long time. The Herder Thump story is made up. Okay. I don't know why she made that story up, but okay. No, normal thud you wouldn't question. You just think they were like, I don't know. I don't even care. I think my son was playing on his gaming thing. I think he might have been losing, so he was banging the desk or something. I don't know. Yeah, can you please hit the thumbs up if you've not done so? There you go. My 12-year-old made a thud. I yelled. What was that? She yelled back. I dropped my backpack on the floor. The end. Nothing nefarious. Exactly. Exactly. The only reason why people are thinking that there's something nefarious with that thud is because they don't like Katie. Is it a fact that Sebastian answered back? Well, we don't know the answer to that, do we? We can never prove that because the only people who were actually there were Katie and Sebastian. So we've got to take her word for everything relating to that particular piece of the story. He sounded like my 18-year-old was skipping at 3 a.m. this morning. Maybe they were. Maybe they were skipping. Early morning skip session. Do we know what actual hours Chris worked the night morning of? We know from the PI that he was at work at 5:15 a.m. That's what we know from the PI. It'd be more rude if it was quiet. Yeah, that's true. That's true. If he answered, then he obviously wasn't having a seizure. Yeah, absolutely. She said, did you fall out of bed? He answered back, no, ma'am. So he's not having a seizure, is he? I don't know what kind of thud. I bet he just dropped something. Now, was he packing a bag to leave? And he had a bag with some stuff in, and he dropped it, and that was the thud. Was he? I don't know. I have an adult child with hydrocephalus and check. As Katie first claimed, he only yelled and there was no response. History with seizures would be problematic. But she did say that he shouted back to the question, did you fall out of bed? He answered back, no, ma'am. So he was obviously fine. Yeah, I mean, all teenagers make noise, whatever they're doing. I just think people are really hung up on it because they don't like Katie. So they're looking for every possible thing that they can pin on her as a red flag. So it's the old story that I always say, that if you have a theory, if you believe that your theory is correct and you don't analyze that, you don't investigate that via a scientific method, then you're always going to fall into a confirmation bias, and very quickly you'll fall into confirmation bias. So if you're only looking for details that support your theory, so if you think that Katie is responsible, that she, she hit him and, accidentally killed him, or she attacked him or whatever, if you think that that's what happened, then every single possible thing that you'll find relating to Katie is a red flag. But unless you look as hard for all of the things that could negate your theory, then you are always going to fall into a confirmation bias. So you've got to try to dispute your theory as hard as you try to find evidence to support it. That's a scientific way of analysing, doing your thought experiments. Because that's what we're doing. We're all doing thought experiments. The PI, Hannah, right, she's developing a theory. So she's, it's only her opinion, but it's based on what she knows, and what she knows didn't happen. Knock on a window with your fist sounds like a thud. Okay, hold on. It's a window right here. Did you hear that? Did the microphone pick that up? I just smacked the window. I don't know if the microphone picked that up. Let me move the microphone if I can. Nearer to the window. Right, I'm going to bang the window right now. Does that sound like a thud? It does, doesn't it? There you go. So, could have been, I don't know, banging on the window. Was there someone outside? Does he have a friend that Katie's not aware of? Did he leave with someone? We don't know, do we? We don't know. Because he wasn't caught on any cameras. And I've explained why I believe he wasn't caught on any cameras. But if he was with someone else, could easily have been with someone else who, I don't know, came to his window. Maybe knocked on his window, and that sounded like a thud. We're only speculating, but it's absolutely possible. Thank you, Arlene, for the $10. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Romeo and Juliet. Could he have had a friend who was a girl? Now, where that girl went, where that girl is, because there's not a girl that's missing. So if he left with someone, that person knows. So why has that person not come forward? Is it because that person did something nefarious? Is it because that person's scared that they'll be blamed? Or was there no other person? Was he absolutely on his own? And that's not true. Did my son run in to check on me? No. No, he didn't. And I have a history of fainting. So if you hear a thud and I'm in the house, you might want to check on me because I might have fainted. But if I answer you, then clearly I've not fainted, have I? I don't even know where he is. I can hear him. He's upstairs somewhere. He might be in the shower. Yeah, I have low blood pressure. Would hack up any scent after this long? Oh, any dogs? Not live scent, no. live scent dissipates within a few days, and that's only if you're lucky. If you're on if you're in like a wooded area, then scent will stick around for a few days. But if you're in a suburban area, like on a road, on a street, or in a city, then you've only got scent for a few hours, and it'll have blown all over the place anyway. But cadaver scent, absolutely. You can have a dead body and you can remove it, and a cadaver dog can still pick up that scent long after that body is gone. It was a cold night in Tennessee, so we left with no shoes. No, Kim, it wasn't. It was warm. I don't know how people are still saying that it was 20 degrees or 28 degrees on that night. No, it wasn't. It was about 55 degrees. It was actually warmer than it is right now where I am. And I'm sitting here in a t-shirt. Any updates on Caleb Harris? Not that I know of. Not that I've seen. Hold on. Good question, though. Caleb Harris. No, he's still missing. So Caleb Harris missing person displays posted on RTA buses. Search and rescue teams await new leads on missing Texas A&M student. That's 2 days ago. So no, still missing. I think he's in the water. I think he has to be. There's a kid, well, I say a kid, young man missing in my country, down south in Bristol. It's a very similar situation. I'm going to do a live stream on him. He's been missing since, can't remember now. He's been missing for quite a while anyway. And that's odd. It's a bit of an odd one. I'm gonna do a live stream on him, maybe tomorrow. I want to do a members live as well, probably tomorrow. About search dogs. I've got some videos that I want to go through with you, so I'll do it as a members live. So those of you who are new to my channel, when I say a members live, it's available to everybody, so you don't have to be a member to watch it while it's live. All the members can chat, and once it's over, then only members can watch the replay. So we're going to watch some search dog videos together, like some search dog training videos. Like, they're really interesting, and it'll give you a good sense of what the dogs are actually doing, how the dogs work, and the different types of search dog, because people get totally confused about search dogs. Kaimani, 15, from Bristol, is missing and was last seen in the Loch Lees area. Now, I don't know. I'm not aware of that one. This guy, what's his name? I even can't think of his name offhand. I think he's 23. So he was at a party, and he was caught on the surveillance, and then he just disappears. But his phone was still active for 2 hours after the last sighting of him on CCTV. And it's a heavily surveilled area. So there's something properly unusual about it. Oh, Seth's in the house. Hi, Seth. Thanks for joining us. You're very late. I'm just about to sign off. So if you want to watch the whole live, then go for it. Just rewind. But I am going to sign off because I've been on this for now 1 hour 45. So I want to make it watchable so it's not too long. So for now, I'm going to sign off. And yeah, I'm going to go now. I'm going to go now. Do I think he's in the cave that collapsed? Oh, so that cave that was mentioned on the dispatch audio. I don't think so. But obviously, I don't know. I think what it sounded like was the guy went in and then there was a collapse. Have I walked the dogs yet? Yes, I have. I walk the dogs early in the morning. And then if Cassie bugs me later, then I walk her again separately. Because sometimes she just keeps bugging me. She wants to go out twice. The other two don't care. The other two have a walk, sleep rest of the day. Whereas Cassie's a worker. She has to like work her brain. Anyway, I'm waffling now. So thank you all for joining me. Hope you found this useful. And just before I go, I'm going to share Sebastian's Amber Alert once again. So Sebastian Rogers, been missing since the 26th of February from the Stafford Court area of Hendersonville in Tennessee. He's 15, white male, brown hair, brown eyes, 5'5", just short of 120 pounds. If you've got any credible tips, then call the Sumner County Emergency Communications Center at 615-451-3838 or the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. So thank you all. Thank you as always to the mods. Thank you for the donations. Welcome to the new members. And if you just popped in, then just rewind and watch it all on the replay. So for now, I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.